there, lovely listeners, and welcome back to Reasons to Care, the podcast all about heartwarming stories and making a difference with diverse abilities, Dorset's disability charity. I'm Claire, one of the managers in our children's team.
And I'm Michelle, the Deputy Manager in Supported Living. You may remember earlier on in Reasons to Care, we invited on a member of staff called Anya, who has been with us for over 20 years. Well, we've got another lifer for you.
Dave Austin. Where do we start with Dave? We're going to hear all about it in a minute, but Dave has worked for us for over 30 years.
He really is the rock in the life of diverse abilities. And of course, if you're inspired about working in care, listening to the podcast, don't forget you can check out career vacancies online at any time at diverseabilities.org.uk/careers.
So welcome along today, Dave. Really lovely to have you here. And I'm sure you're going to have lots to tell us about the last 30 years at Diverse Abilities. So maybe you could start with, what was your background before you started at Diverse Abilities?
Well, where do you want me to start? When I left school, I was a hairdresser.
No.
Yeah, David Bowie had just come out sort of thing. And I was apprentice. I wasn't full hairdresser. But the Bowie cut had just come out then. So mainly I was washing old ladies' hairs. Well, they was old because they were 20s then. And I was sort of 16. And then sweeping up hair and that sort of thing. But then in the September, so that was sort of from when I broke up from school, so June. Didn't go to my exams, bizarrely.
You didn't go?
No. So I left school with nothing.
This doesn't surprise me.
And then, so hairdressing, then I joined the army. And posted down to Bovington, where I did my basic training. Then went to my regiment, who had just been posted to Northern Ireland in 1976. And that's when the big troubles were on and everything. So I was there for 2 years, because the whole regiment went over. And that was interesting, lots of nasty things going on. I won't go into that. But all sort of, I was 18 and dealing with lots of different situations over there. Then left the army, I got posted from Germany in 1987 to go and teach at Bovington in the
like
signal
new
school.
Recruits?
No,
Oh,
signal
okay.
school. So I'd become a communications instructor.
Right, okay.
And I was there for a month and broke my leg really badly. I snapped my foot off, like you've had a bad leg.
Yeah.
But my foot went all the way around, spiral fracture and everything. And I was off for a year with that, but I was then medically downgraded. But so stayed teaching at Bovington and became this training standards warrant officer in charge of training, testing, development, and that course analysis, course design. So I got a broad thing going on there. And then in 1993, the army started making redundant. It was downsizing, so redundancies. And I was medically downgraded. I was a sergeant major. I couldn't get commissioned to be an officer because I was medically downgraded. And I applied for redundancy. They wouldn't let me go because I'd become a bit of a specialist in my field. But applied again the next year and managed to get redundancy. So then I come out and looking for jobs. What I'm going to do, I've been a sergeant major in charge of training and development. I've been offered a job to set up a communication school in Kuwait, but didn't fancy going to live in Kuwait. A lot of money, but I just wanted to do something different. So I became an estate agent.
Right.
Didn't know
For
any of
Connells in
I didn't
Wimborne.
know any of this.
And I was just applying for every job. But before I left the army, I missed out, I did a resettlement course for a year. So
Right.
it offered lots of different things.
Yeah.
I did anatomy, physiology and massage because I wanted to be a sports injury therapist.
Okay.
But that was a foundation course for it. So I did an iTech diploma in that and became qualified so I could practice. But then decided, well, it used to give me headaches, all the essential oils and things like that. And I had a job not to sweat on people because you're in a stuffy little room with whale noises going on. And, you're just dripping. And you try to, so you slap some oil on quickly. And then, so that didn't really work out. So then I started looking around and Connells were advertising for estate agents. So I became an estate agent in Wimborne. opposite the Minster. And I've been there for 6-7 weeks, and I used to work every Saturday and Sunday. The area manager phoned up, and the manager of my shop wasn't actually very good, and we didn't really get on. But the area manager phoned me up and said, I want to meet you. I said, yeah, no problem. And I asked why. He said, I'll discuss when we get down there. So we come in, and we said, we're going to use your house, your office, Peter. The manager was thinking, what's going on? And walked in and sat down. I said, what do you want me for then? He said, well, I want to find out how you've, in a month, managed to agree 14 sales. And the office, the best the office between 3 of them have done is 9. So I said, I'll tell you. And I told him. So I was quite enjoying it, but it's terrible money. And it was costing me more to park than I was actually getting in Wimborne. It's a nightmare. So I was selling the house of Dr. Alan Chitty. He was the top bloke in the Bournemouth Paul College.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And he said, what are you doing? And we was chatting and all this sort of thing. I told him I'd been a training development, training analysis, course design. He's come and work for me. So I left that and became a training analyst for Bournemouth Paul College for a year. I got a year's contract going into companies, identifying training needs. Because what happens in that field, people buy off the shelf courses.
Right.
And only 30% of that might be applicable to what the role is they want. So just course design analysis, identifying needs. Did that for a year, and coming towards the 8 weeks before my contract was up, nobody said anything to me. So I started looking around. We had the advertiser that come out every Thursday.
Yeah. I used to deliver that.
I know. And all the jobs are in there. So I was looking for through the jobs and thinking, yeah. And Dorset Spastic Society was there.
And that's what Diversibilities was known
That's
as
that was,
originally,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. So I thought, what's this then? Setting up a training centre. Well, I've been in training, setting up training centres around the sort of Europe and that as well. I thought, yeah, I could do that. And went for an interview, and it was the whole of the trustees, 12 of them there. But I'd prepared a presentation, and I got the job straight away.
So that was then,
That was 1994.
so that was Barnabas. Was that the start of Barnabas?
That was Barnabas, yeah. So
Which we
I've
now
been
know as the
employed-
Beehive.
Yeah, I've been employed to set up a day centre
Okay.
for adults with complex needs. Now, it didn't matter who you're teaching to, as long as you can pitch it at the right level, the right person.
Right.
So identify the needs of the people.
Yeah.
So it was needs led.
Because that's what I was just thinking, like that's a massive change from potentially teaching squaddies or, do you know what I mean? Teaching people really complex things to then going into a day centre and completely changing how you approach it.
Not at all, because
No?
all you do is look at so I'll be looking at you, Claire,
Yeah.
you're a person I'm going to be providing a service for. What do you want to learn? What do you need to
Right.
learn? So, or do you want to just come for to be socialised with different people, learn how to interact with other people? So it's just identifying needs and then designing the centre around that.
Wow.
Must have been
So-
quite exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. I never used to change my own kids' nappies, so then providing personal care was
Yeah.
a big jump up. I didn't mind it, because that's when you find that people will open up to you, sort of thing, if they've got a lot of issues and problems when you're providing personal care, believe it or not, because you're one-to-one with somebody and you're helping them out. And it was quite an easy transition, because I had all the skills in my tool bag then of life to start developing this, because course design, training analysis, needs led approaches. It was just starting to come in, because the way that when I found out I started the day centre was I went to look at a lot of other day centres. And the way it worked, you would build a day centre, furnish it with all different things, and fit people to the day centre. I did not want to do that, because as I visited all the day centres, there was people sorting washers and nuts and bolts out in this room. Computers had just come in, so everybody had a computer room, and there was people that on a 6-week programme would go and do that. But not everybody wanted to do that. And you'd see people change after their 6 weeks program from doing one thing to go into computers, and they was unhappy, and their behaviours would change then because they was not being looked at what they wanted to do. He was just being fitted to the centre.
We've talked about this before, Michelle, haven't we, many times, about how diversibility is always, what I'm learning is that diversibilities always seem to be ahead of the game in terms of saying we're going to look at the person and see what the person wants. And it's really refreshing to know that even back in the 90s,
We were still doing that.
we were still doing that, because we think we're doing it now, but actually it's so nice to hear that back in the 90s there was Dave going, actually they're not sorting out nuts and washers, they're going to come and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
The big problem was the local authorities didn't want another day centre.
Right, okay.
So I've been employed to set up a day centre. I went to meet with the local authorities. We're not going to fund another one.
Oh.
So I thought, oh, that's a short job. But then we had 4 of the people that we supported go into other day centres, because we had a residential home called Edward House then, and they lived there, who came to me because I was getting funded from out of county.
Okay.
So I had 4 people, myself, Maureen, and a van. That was it. No furniture, an empty hall, 1 toilet,
Wow.
and not got a budget to buy anything because nobody would fund it. So we spent all the day riding around in the bus. I had a bus. And it was great, you know. So there was just, where should we go today? Let's get on the bus. And coming from Eddie House, 4 people on the bus. And the world was our oyster. Well, then these people were going back to their other clubs and things and saying,
Telling
how come this is a
everyone.
great day centre? We go out every day. And it was unheard of then
Yeah,
from day
absolutely,
centres to
yeah.
actually go out, because basically it was a big day centre with 100 plus people at it, walking up and down corridors most of the time, going from room to room. But there was this new day centre set up. They go out every day and they got their own bus and this and that. So then I started getting referred people from the local authorities, those that didn't fit in to the big day centres, that had the behavioural issues. And so I got a phone call from a social worker saying, look, we've got this chap. He's in his 50s and he's on the verge of going to a secure unit. But, you know, can we try him at your place? Said, yeah, no problem. And I went to meet him at a big day centre. And when I walked in, I was immediately swamped by 10, 20 people, hands all over my hair, on my chest and that, and pulling me here and there. And it was a bit overwhelming to start with. But then I got used to it. And I just, you know, it's time to give a little bit of space, guys, you know. Who are you? Who are you? Anyway, I managed to meet with the manager, and this I said, where is this chap? And he was in a cupboard, actually. So I opened the cupboard door, waved at him, and then I went in the cupboard, closed the door, because all the other people outside looking to see what was going on. And he was a little bald granddad, he looked like. And he didn't talk, he had autism. And that wasn't really... people knew about it, but they didn't really know about it.
Not like we do now.
Not now. No. So 34 years ago. And he chose not to speak, so he didn't speak, but he couldn't, there's no reason why he couldn't speak. So anyway, I started saying, look, I've got another centre and I've got a building, a church hall, which you can have as your own office if you like. Nobody else in there, just you, because I knew that he liked doing jigsaw puzzles and that. And people with autism, I become a little bit of a specialist in it over the years. Proxemics are so important because you don't want to pile in. Now, I felt overwhelmed when I walked in because somebody with autism in that environment, so he was hitting people all the time. And then he got this reputation of being trouble, dangerous. And he was on the verge of being locked up. Anyway, he came to me. We set him up in the church hall at the Barnabas, it was called then, and got him a table, a chair, loads of jigsaw puzzles that people had donated. And he was happy as Larry. His face, he used to come in and just nod. And he was happy to come. I used to come shopping with me every Monday to go and get the shopping from Tesco's. And one day I found out his mum was still alive and lived in Wimborne. He never used to go there. So I said, would you like to go and visit your mum? And he nodded his head, yes. So I got in touch with his mum. He said, oh yeah, you can come in. So we drove over to Wimborne. I parked up, went into this flat. I was on the first floor. Knocked on the door. Mum come out, and I was in my frame. Opened the door. Hello. She sort of didn't really talk to John. He walked in through the front door past me, straight left, into his old bedroom. And then she showed me into the lounge, and her and I chatted for 2 hours. John was in the bedroom the whole time. And she was, but telling me about when he was 7, he was excluded from school because, and she said, we used to have to use this, put a big walking stick. I said, what do you mean? Well, this is how we used to have to control him, sort of thing, because he would go, I said, oh my goodness. Anyway, 2 hours up, I had tea and cake, and I went and popped my head in John's office, bedroom. I said, you ready to go? And he nodded his head, yeah. And then we left. So they didn't acknowledge each other at all, but he wanted to be there. It was strange. So we did that for 2 or 3 years, actually, once a month. And then we started having, this was when the AIDS was around. So there was a big AIDS hospice set up in Bournemouth. And the epidemic wasn't as bad as they thought, a couple of years later. And I managed to get hold of all the soft play stuff from this creche they'd set up in it. And we filled the church hall up with that. And Montacute School used to come and use it, actually. Now, John was in there in a corner as well, and he was a little bit concerned when he started seeing all this going on. I said, don't worry, John, people won't be using it while you're here. And he went, okay, fine. But then the school said, can we use it, I said, well, John's in here, but let's see how it goes anyway. And I explained to the teachers, situation with John, don't talk and that. And one day I was in my office and the teacher with the kids, and it was going all right. And John seemed happy enough. And she come running in my office. She said, Dave. I said, what? She said, John's just talked to me. I said, you what? She said, yes. I said, good morning, John. How are you? He said, I'm fine, thank you. And that was the first everything that anybody I'd known, or any record of John, where we'd actually talked.
Wow.
I know. So that
must have felt so comfortable in his environment and felt safe.
And he enjoyed the company of seeing the children, I think it must be. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was a big success story. Then from that, though, he was getting all the other people that didn't fit in the day centres and things, and people with learning disabilities and without learning disabilities. So I had a lot of people with muscular dystrophy come to me as well. And, so it was a great mix of people with profound learning disabilities, people with no learning disabilities, but with a profound physical disability that's, had a short life expectancy.
Yeah.
But, and we had several people come along, and then it was just growing and growing and growing. And because we was always looking at what the needs were of the people that were coming to us, and everybody had different needs. You can't just block. This type of learning disability has these needs. It's not. Everybody has a broad spectrum, and we all want the same, whether they've got a disability or not in life. To be able to choose is one of the things. And when you've had enough, just to say you had enough.
Mm-hmm.
And choose what you wear, choose what aftershave you have on, and the basic things. So rituals and routines. So then all this time I've been doing this. So we're talking about sort of 3 years in now. And we've become very popular. And because I've been in training to fund the services, we had things called Dorset Training Enterprise Councils then. And I've been a trainer. So I was a teacher as well, a qualified teacher. So I got my staff trained up to be MVQ assessors. And then I started training my own staff. But I was getting £2,500 for the Training Enterprise Council per person I trained, my own staff. And all I was paying was £500 for the certification of it from an external invigilator. So I was raking the money in. And this was funding the everything. And then I got involved with the nursing, became a nurse assessor. So I had nurses on placement with me and social workers as well from the university. So I had them all on placement. In fact, one of the current long-term heads of learning disability team in Bournemouth, Paul and Dorset, she was placed with me for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I think that's really important, because if you're going to be a nurse or a social worker, having that sort of experience, face to face, hands on, you can't learn that from a book or from a course.
And actually, we see it firsthand when adults go into hospital and people haven't had that experience and the negative impact that has on the people we support. So yeah, them being able to experience it, it just makes better for them, but also for the people we support.
But the only trouble was I was getting nurses, because you had learning disability nurses then, specialist nurses, and social workers. But they were doing 6 weeks with me and then giving up their courses and working for me. So I didn't want them too popular because they enjoyed the environment, being with the people and the ability.
And I guess maybe seeing the difference that they could
Mate,
make.
that's right, yeah. Yeah. So, so my world had gone from being a sergeant major, shouting at people, but teaching at the same time, to where we are now. But all that time, you never stop learning all through your life.
No.
And the moment you do stop learning, then you start losing the edge and you soon fall behind with what's going on. And you think, well, we did this 20 years ago. If I think the way we used to support people 30 years ago to what it is now, I mean, there's no legislation or anything or guidelines. It was all just looking at needs led. So I was lucky to have had that background. But so we grew and grew and grew. And I was lucky to be there for 18 years as manager, and people just think I'm the guy that does the drains now. But and become a bit of an advisor. I'd been specialised in moving and handling, because I used to do all my own in-house training. I did it for the organisation, and positive response training as well, breakaway techniques. So I became a trainer for that, an assessor. I used to teach staff at Portfield School, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
All these things I'm learning.
I know. I didn't know half of this.
So after 18 years you were with Barnabas, how did it evolve? How did it change?
How did you become the drone man?
Yeah.
Well, Mark, so what happened, we had a couple of credit crunches during that time. And when we closed down the residential home, we sold that and went into partnership with a company called Golden Lane Housing. We were part of Scope then, a separate arm of it. But we invested £1.5 million from the sale of the house, and they invested the same to buy bungalows for the people to move in, and we started supported living. We provided the care in these bungalows, and they provided the housing, the landlords. Credit crunch came along. Mark came in as chief executive, saw that we had £1.5 million invested, getting no return for it. So he said, right, you and I are going up to London. So we got on the train, went to London, met at their head office, and Mark got the contract out. He said, look, in the contract it says here, either of us can buy each other out. We want you to buy us out because we need that money to invest so we can keep the organisation going. They said no. So he said, okay, we'll buy you out. We got back on the train. He said, you're going to be a landlord. I'm pulling you out. You're going to run this up, head it up. And got a loan from the banks. Well, a mortgage is a business loan. You can't have a mortgage for 1.5. You have a business loan. And we bought them out. And they was a bit, what, you can't do it. Oh, we did. And that all happened in 2 months.
Wow.
Perhaps less than that. So Mark was so forward thinking, because we weren't in the healthiest position then financially as an organisation. We hadn't got a lot of reserves. But Mark had come in, see what needed doing. And with his background, he got everything done the way it should be. And so overnight then I was pulled out, and he said, you can also do the IT and the health and safety.
Yeah.
Because we were paying companies tens of thousands to do that.
To do all these extra.
Yeah. So I became landlord, well, we called it facilities manager then.
Yeah.
So I had all these jobs. And this is when little Mikey came along.
I was going to say,
manager.
I remember Mike started. He used to follow you everywhere.
Well, it
was like, here's Dave.
Yeah.
There's Mike.
Yeah.
And we had a small desk, actually, in the corridor as you went in Acorn Business Park. So it was just on the left near the front door, just a little niche. And we shared the desk. I made him go where the drawers were because I wanted my legs underneath. But our shoulders were touching. And everybody coming thought we were the people that were checking people. And no, we were IT. This is the IT section, landlord section, business manager. And so we stayed there for a a couple of years actually. And Mike had left college, and because they was teaching an outdated version of Windows, but he was a computer geek.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he knew it was all self-taught and amazing. I could see potential in it, but he became my wingman.
Yeah, he did.
And he saw everybody was going out. He said, "Oh, this your son?"
And we all
I
thought
said,
he
"I
was.
hope not."
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Because they were everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever one was, the other one was behind.
Yeah,
so
he was there. He was,
we thought David brought his son to work.
Yeah. No, he was attached to me. Never more than always made him walk slightly to the one side and behind. No, I didn't. But he learned lots. The whole organisation, everybody got to know him then. And then, God, what a difference he made. But that's another story. So, so we then moved offices downstairs and was heavily involved in that. And so then we was all finding deals for new accommodation for everybody. And it was quite a busy time, actually. So then I got my feet under the table. I had to go and do NEBOSH courses, which took a year to do the health and safety and become compliant and legal, and then fire risk assessments courses. And so you never stop training. And then do all the landlord training as well, the legalities involved in that.
So your job role now is you're landlord for all of our supported living bungalows.
Yes.
You do the health and safety for the whole of the organisation, and what else do
So
you
the
do?
facilities manager,
Oh, and
so managing projects, all the utility organisation,
Oh, yeah,
anything that comes,
utilities,
I do all
yes.
the utilities and organise all the contracts for that. All contractual, all projects I manage, like the Lilies project,
yes, yeah,
the Beehive project.
yeah.
Didn't really manage this one because it managed itself, but heavily involved in the planning stages of everything with the architects and that sort of thing. But then because we're on such a tight budget, unblocking drains, one of my favourite things I've learned to do. Sounds stupid, but my God, it's satisfying.
I am with you there, because it's always me and Anya at Lily's place. When the drains are blocked, they're like, "Oh, the drains are blocked," and Anya and I are like, "Oh, get me the bin bags." So I tie bin bags over my shoes to not ruin my shoes. Go out with the rods.
Well, I've got.
So it is satisfying. You are
It
right.
is. So, I've got lots of stories about this, but I won't be too graphic. But Conti wipes, they're like big wet wipes.
Yeah.
And people would flush them, and that would cause the blockages in the things, and then it would build up and build up. And you'd take the manhole cover off, and it'd like be a crust, and you'd have to break through the crust. And anyway, I'm clearing everything out, putting it into a bowl, because I had to carry all this stuff around the edge of it. It was in a bungalow, this was. And I'm carrying it around, and I got my rubber gloves on and everything. And as I bent down to put the bowl on the floor to empty it, I dropped it a little bit, banged on the floor and splashed up into my face.
Oh.
And I've sort of got my eyes closed and my mouth closed, and I've got all this dripping off my face. So I had to feel my way around the bungalow into the kitchen and wash myself quickly. One of my nastiest moments, but then I got it all cleared and everything. But to get somebody in Dynarod or somebody like that, you're talking hundreds of pounds.
And you really are on call all of the
24/7.
time, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, because I know when I used to lead shifts at Lily's place, if the washing machine broke, I was pretty handy at like sorting the washing machine out, but it would get to a point where I'd be like, I've done everything I can think of to do. And it'd be like, who do I phone? Dave, because I'm not phoning a plumber, because like you say, we can't afford to be phoning a plumber.
And I'll phone, and Dave will be, I forget that he has Wednesdays off now, and you'll be on the golf course. And you'll still answer. It might take a little while, but he still answers, because our immediate to is, let's ring Dave. He'll know, or he'll know someone.
So what to do, how to do it. That's right.
Yeah.
So, so it's developed like that sort of thing. So you learn to do jobs, and YouTube is the most wonderful thing to learn how to do anything.
Yeah.
Mm.
So using that, I must have saved thousands and thousands of pounds over the years by learning how to do things.
Well, you fitted our kitchen
kitchen
here,
fitting,
didn't you, at Treehouse, when we took that on and we had a big redevelopment, and we Dave ripped out the old kitchen, fitted the new kitchen. You fitted the toilet in the staff toilet, didn't you? There was just a hole where there was a washing machine.
Kitchens and everything, you know, it just saves thousands and thousands of pounds. And I've got a network of golfing mates that have got all jobs as well. Keith, the window man.
I was going to say Keith, the window man.
He's retired. We're all in well over our 60s. And but getting him in to do jobs, and he really enjoys it. So we've just at the school Langside he was in last week with me, changing the hinges on the conservatory door because it wasn't open. Now that cost us pennies to as if I got a company in. So having that network of people that I can call upon as well, and I've got trades that I use regularly, and they will drop whatever they're doing, plumbers, electricians, and that sort of thing, and they look after us. So that's what a facility manager does, and you get these network of people that you can call upon, and just to keep the costs down, and that's the main job. Because if we was doing it all by getting in companies in to do it, it would be thousands and thousands of pounds. So then that takes me sort of called out, coming to the facility side of life now, and I'm coming towards the end of my career.
I was just about to say, are we going to talk about this? Because I'm not ready to talk about this. What are we going to do without Dave?
Well, I'm 67 next month.
No.
And so I've formally put my notes in to retire in April next year. But that's 8 months where we can put a plan together. Because the last thing I want to do after working this long, it'll be my 34th year then, is just leave it in a mess. So I'm just getting a list of all the things I do together to try and find how we're going to
what it's going to look like in the future.
These roles and responsibilities. Who we can, like Claire, you're nominated for a lot. Obviously the drains now.
I'll take over the drains.
Just
as long as you leave me the rods.
But strangely enough, Mark was with me today when I was in, and he said, "You fancy doing 0 hours when you retire?" So
change your phone number when you retire, Dave, because you'll still be getting phone calls from everyone 24/7. No, I'm retired now.
Yeah, but
he'll still turn up.
Yeah,
yeah, because you make lots of lifelong friends.
Yes, yeah,
and especially with the people we support.
So that was something else that I wanted to touch on. So obviously, with Anna being in supported living now, I've been to quite a few of the Christmas parties.
Yeah,
and I did not realise what a celebrity you were in a lot of these people that we support's lives. You walk into the room and they like flock to you, like you are like, it's Dave. And that must be so amazing that you've probably supported a lot of those people for a really long time, and have made those connections with people.
Well, that's the great thing about my job, because I do get to see everybody. Because I work over every site and every bungalow, and with the people we support. I've been to Lindsay's house this morning. She's had a big thing for me for years.
Yeah.
And, you see the people's faces light up, and they are good mates. We just lost a great friend, Eric. And what popped up on my phone the other day was when I had my legs waxed for charity at Acorn Business Park. And there's Eric holding my hand, reassuring me as I'm getting them waxed. So I had a little funny story about Eric, actually, when he used to come to my day centre, and it was July time. And he come in, there's a little bit of devilment in him, and he come in singing jingle bells. Jingle bells, jingle. And everybody's laughing, sort of, oh, that's funny, cute, Eric. Oh, yeah. By sort of 2 hours later, he's still going, jingle bells. And the more people were saying, Eric, shut up, he was going, jingle bells. And just them sort of things, it was hilarious. And then you do get very friendly with people. And Anna, I have my ID card on a pulley out thing. Well, I was in Anna's bungalow, actually, and she grabbed my thing. I thought, what's she doing? She pulled it out to look at it and then twanged it back on me. And it hit me in the wrong place. And oh my God, nearly curled up. It was, but Anna, you just get to know the people, and then you go to sort of do jobs that they then benefit from in their houses.
Yeah.
Get the boiler working. Unblock the drains, sort out the electrics when they're blown.
for one person, you make such a massive difference across the whole organisation, not just to the people we support, but to us as well as staff, because there are times when, something's gone wrong with the building and you're really stressing and I've got no electric, I don't know what to do. And then Dave swoops in and sorts it all out and you're like, oh, thank goodness for that.
But not just coming into and just being like, Dave, and just like, hey, how are you? And the random and amazing stories that you have.
Yeah.
I've had a very lucky, 2/3 of my working life I've been here.
Yeah.
And all the people that I've known, the hundreds and hundreds of people, parents, people we support, staff, it's not often that I go out and I don't meet somebody that knows me. I can't remember names now, though. That's the only trouble. And if I meet somebody out of context, where do I know them from? Did I work with them? Do I know them from the golf club? Or
hello and move on quickly.
Yeah. But then I'm chatting to this random bloke the other day in Tesco's, convinced I know him. And then I'm about 10 minutes into the conversation and I said, I don't know you, do I? He said, no. I thought, oh dear. I said, anyway, it's been lovely chatting to you. He said, yeah, I've enjoyed it as well. So it's, it's been a dream job, really, that you would never, how would you describe what job I've got?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where you started, you would never ever think of
I can't believe you were a hairdresser.
No. I left school with nothing, didn't go to the exams. So I did all my qualifications of that when I was in the army, and later on I did a degree.
But again, we've spoke about that before, haven't we, Claire?
We have, yeah.
We've said that in this day and age, it is all about exams and that, but actually
doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be. And you're living proof of that.
Yeah. If you've got a passion to want to make a difference to people's lives and you're driven to be able to do it, it doesn't matter if you've got GCSEs or degrees or what have you, as long as you've got the right view and the desire to do it, then
and be willing to learn all the time.
Yes,
new skills, because as soon as you stop learning, you're not current anymore. If you think from when I started, I had a computer. So I got a computer. It cost £1,500 in 1994, and for the Barnabas Centre, and he had a 60 megabyte hard drive, and used 5 1/4 floppy inch discs, and that sort of thing. There was no Windows.
Disc.
I know there was no Windows or anything like that. You used to have to use type in the code to get it going, and I was really proud of this. And then we come in one Monday morning, and it had gone. We'd been broken into. But I thought, oh my God. And they'd nicked our stereo that we'd been given as well. So I got the Echo around, and they'd forced a window at the back of the beehive. It was Barnabas then. And got in, nicked the stuff. And it was in the Echo and that. And it was the best thing that ever happened, because it got out there. This new day centre had been broken into, and their computers were rare then, sort of thing. And people were donating everything. I got tons of stuff donated. But then 2 days later, I got the police phone me up saying the guy that's took all your stuff has left it on our doorstep. Don't know who he is or anything. So he'd felt guilty, the guy who nicked it. And I didn't want it back because I got the insurance money. But they let me keep it anyway. But so that was a weird one. But I've got the Echo. I've still got the paper clips upstairs, actually, reporting on it. So as soon as you have a mishap, there's always, one of my mantras through life is always be positive, because it's so easy to be negative.
Mm.
If you go through life, saying, oh, no. But even when something bad like that happens, right, what can we do about it? I thought, well, let's get the Echo involved. Let's get publicity on this. And, I just got so much from it. And then anything where adverse, there's always look for the positive. So they're always there somewhere. Even when I had the worst round of golf in the world, well, I had one good shot, or I had a 5-mile walk, and I chatted to somebody else about this. And it's positivity. That's the main key to life, and work, because it's so easy to fall in the negative pit.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky. I've been blessed.
And we're very lucky because you bring that positivity as well. So
yes, definitely.
make everyone's day brighter. So I think that leads us really nicely into our happy jar. So every episode we pull a note from our happy jar. So Michelle, do you want to go first?
Yeah, can do. So this is coming together as a team during the hard time with lots of food and checking over our own happy notes. Now, I know that this is children's.
Because it involves food.
No, I was thinking of the notes more. But yeah, I mean, food, you could pretty much do any service, I think.
Yeah, so being in children's teams, certainly when I worked at Lily's Place, we actually kind of started the happy jar off, I guess. Yeah. Many years ago, we were having a really tough time. We had a run of losing quite a few children and everyone was feeling really quite down. And I know we've spoken before about whenever something like that's happened within certainly Lily's Place or Smithers, as it was previously. I remember the first child that we lost and I took the phone call and I said, but now what do I do? And they said, you come and you eat. And I was like, what? And they were like, you come and you eat. And everybody just goes back to Smithers, sits around the table and we have food and we laugh and we cry and we reminisce. And so we'd had this sort of run and we were, all feeling a bit like, oh. Someone said, I think we should start. So we had a book. It started off with Anya had a book. So we were writing funny things in the book as they were happening. So, someone would say something really funny or something really funny would happen and we'd write it down. And then it got to at the beginning of every year, we'd look at the previous year's notes and we would laugh and laugh and laugh. And even now, we've still got the books from many years ago, and sometimes if we're not feeling it, we'll sit and have a cup of tea and we get the book out and we sit and have a look at the book and we laugh about all the funny things that have happened. And yeah, it's just like you say, it's that positivity. It brings you back up. It reminds you of the good things that we've done
and all the work and everything that's happened as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
What number book are you on now?
I think it must be on I think the first book started in 2018.
Wow.
So yeah, book 7.
Wow.
So yeah, and we've funny
There's a
little
book deal there somewhere, I reckon.
yeah, Ollie's got a little pile of them on her desk and we stick things in them and when things happen and we find things, we're oh, stick it in the book.
I love it.
So yeah, that's our kind of way, I guess, of reminiscing and remaining positive and remaining connected to each other as a team.
Yeah.
So shall I pull out this one?
Yeah, come on.
So I've got 2 gentlemen visiting Anfield for an AFC Bournemouth match, a huge car journey that they took in their stride and they had a fantastic time. So I know this is adult.
Yeah, so this is supported living, something that they'd wanted to do for a long time. And actually, what I love about it is Emma, who we've had previously before, was like, well, why can't they? And, it was a long bus journey for them, but they managed so well and were buzzing for weeks after. And so much so, I think since that happy note, they've gone on and booked another one as well. So yeah, again, I just like the whole, let's do it. How can we do it? No, you can't do that.
We've said it time and time again, but it is the thing that I love most about diverse abilities. Coming from the NHS, where I'd spent 13 years being told no, to come to somewhere, it's like a breath of fresh air, where it's not a no. It's a, hang on a minute, let's just think about this. How can we make it happen? And for me, that's what gives me such great job satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree.
So I think with 30 years experience under your belt, Dave, you must have some really happy memories. Can I ask you to try and choose one?
Goodness gracious.
One of your favourite memories from your time?
Well, when I was managing the day service, we started doing annual shows. And the concert, I used to get all tugged up. And so our first one, I suppose, it was about early 90s because the Titanic, just the film.
Yeah.
And putting on our first show with all the people we support.
So did you do the Titanic?
No, we did a variety show.
Oh, okay. I see.
So it's comedians.
Oh my goodness.
But Nikki, one of the people we support, one of the students, she sang the song. And we'd made her a little prow of a boat. Out of a rollator.
I was going to say she was
on a rollator, yeah. So we turned that into a prow of a boat, and she's singing. What was that song called?
My Heart Will Go On.
My Heart Will Go
yeah.
On. Yeah, she sang that beautifully. And so we had all the rows of theatre seats and that sort of thing. And in between the changes of set on the stage, I would do a quiz with all the audience just to fill the time, because getting people on and off the stage in wheelchairs and everything. And but that was the catalyst, and everybody, the people we support, the parents, friends of parents come along. At the end of the show, when it was all on stage for the big finale sort of thing, it was wonderful. And we didn't know whether we could pull it off or not. You know, it had never been done before, because it was just...
Yeah.
And that was probably, you know, one of the sort of highlights, to see the staff, the people we support, the parents, visitors, neighbours, all together in that one place. There must have been about not 100 people there, audience, and there was about 70 of us with staff and people we support all together at the end of that. It just brings, and we started making videos.
They still do the shows now, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
carried on.
They do. And
Carried on.
I seen just this week the pictures from some of those very first shows.
Oh yeah,
did you?
Yeah. So
there's
very
videos played
interesting.
all the time. Emma, she's has it on all the time when I'm doing the comparing and introducing the acts and everything. And then the people we support, and Nicky Crothers actually made up a song about Barnabas as well.
Really?
Yeah, yes. We come to Barnabas every day. Dave is our manager, and Maureen plans our day. Eric drives the bus, and Chris cooks our meals. It went on like that. But then as people left and that, she added different names into it. But she's just left there, actually. She came when she was 18. So, you know, seeing people from 18, 30 years later sort of thing, still enjoying it, because no 2 days Beehive now are the same.
And I
And
think,
it's still person needs led,
yeah.
person-centred.
And I think that's something we're learning, isn't it, throughout these podcasts, is everybody we're talking to is saying the same. No 2 days are the same.
No,
No.
exactly. You wouldn't
No,
want
not
it
at
to
all.
be either.
I think now would be a good time to go into our myth. So every episode we have a myth that we try and bust. So this episode's myth is care is a short-term career option and there is no progression.
Absolutely not true. Just even listening from Dave this year, would you agree?
No. I mean, the amount of different skills I've learned in the care sector, because the care is one small part of it. It's providing the services that are required to provide the care.
And that's what I was going to say. I think when people think of care, they think of that direct caring person, but actually there's so many roles around that.
Well, I think they think of personal care,
They do. Yeah.
not holistic, because you're looking
No.
after the person's interests.
Yeah.
It's something I talk to. I do a lot of recruitment events for 16-year-olds when they're sort of looking at their next steps. What would they like to do next? And you see people walking past and they're maybe parents, or they're like, oh no, it's care, I don't want it. And I'm like, no, stop. Because it's not just care. Because if we didn't have someone unblocking the drains, if we didn't have someone posting on Facebook, if we didn't have our events team, if we didn't have an accountant, if we didn't have all of these things, we wouldn't actually be able to deliver the direct care on the ground. So it's not just, you know, you might look at a care company and think, oh, it's just care, but actually there's so many things that make that up.
Getting people into the community, you know, that's a big part of care. Enabling them to go to football matches, join clubs, choirs, going to the pub, socialising,
live
just
their
taking people
lives.
to clubs and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's all part of being a carer.
Yeah.
And enabling people to get into the community, to all activities that you like, and not just personal care.
Yeah. And I think when we say short term, if we look around this room, Dave's been here
4 years.
34 years. I've been here nearly 15 years.
Nearly 8 years.
You know,
It's a long time,
it's
yeah.
not short term, is it?
No, definitely not.
So I think, yeah, again, another myth is bust. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dave. I had no idea that you had such a varied past.
No, I didn't either. So many different roles. Thanks for joining us and sharing all the stories.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Reasons to Care, the podcast from Diversabilities, Dorset's disability charity, all about what it means to work in care.
We'll be back again with you soon, so make sure you subscribe for updates. But in the meantime, don't forget to follow Diversabilities on social media. Check out our vacancies at diversabilities.org.uk/careers. And we'd love it if you could leave a review if you've enjoyed this episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.